Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. That still gets me every time.
Every time.
But anyways, welcome back to The Real with Joseph Latman live edition. Monday Night Raw edition. Mike, we haven't seen you in a while, but what's going on in Mike's world?
Just working a lot, doing the most nerdy thing I could think of, painting Warhammer miniatures. So, started picking that hobby back up. So my wallet's hurting, but hey, they're pretty cool. I mean, look at that little dude.
You gotta put that up to the camera. We need to see. I'll put your full.
They probably won't focus very well. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it won't focus. But yeah, so I've just been doing a lot of painting, a lot of reading, a lot of working.
Yeah, I just got done biking. Man, it was hot today. It was humid, a little more humid. I think because last week it was cooler. Yesterday was cooler. And you go out today, it was a little warmer out, humid tonight. Great bike ride, but man, it was a little hot and humid. But that's not what we're here to talk about that. But we will on the last half of the show. Today we're going to talk about some Browns. We got some Browns news we're going to start off with, some scheduled predictions like you see in the thumbnail. And in the second half of the show, we're going to get into some LeBron Cavs news and maybe how they maybe they go together. We haven't heard LeBron's, or not LeBron's. We haven't heard Mike's take on it. Yeah, LeBron's take. We haven't heard Mike's take on it yet. And my buddy Jared, who will be coming on the show at some point in the near future, he told me tonight, we're going to call it the LeBron Cold War. The Cold War for LeBron.
Cold War
for what's going on right now. For not only LeBron, but maybe obviously his son Bronny involved as well. But let's get into the Browns first, Mike. Let's start with the news today, or was swirling around today. Jameis Winston's comments recently about Ken Dorsey. He kind of makes some interesting hints in this audio here when he's talking about maybe who the play caller could be, what's been going on at OTA so far with Ken Dorsey. And I don't know. Let's take a listen here to our boy Jameis Winston.
Big J-Mo.
Most important thing I learned is that, Miami Hurricanes aren't that bad. But really, I've really enjoyed his coaching presence. What we do on the field in terms of drill work has been fine work. One of my favorite quarterback coaches that worked with Peyton Manning, Clyde Christensen, Mike Bajakian, they always worked on the feet. And I'm just so happy that is what he's emphasizing with his feet, with his timing, and also him installing the plays, him calling the plays. Man, he's definitely been in this position. It seems as if he's been in this position before, and I'm just happy that we're able to communicate. And it's very important to me because this is a new offense for me. So us communicating, me continuing to learn, and him being tough on us and challenging us to get better, challenging us to be quicker and faster. It's truly been a blessing. Most important thing.
Interesting stuff there, Mike. He said he's two things that stand out to me, which is a lot of people react to today. He's installing the plays and he's been calling the plays. So the Browns haven't officially named who the play caller will be yet. Obviously, it's been Kevin Stefanski the last 4 years. We've had debates on our show with you and others. I've kind of said, I think if Kevin allowed it, I agree with it. I think it's necessary. I gave my stance on it from a football perspective. I think where this team is, I think having a OC as a play caller is what they need right now. I think it takes less of a load off Kevin, where he could be more the CEO coach, which I think he's. I mean, here he was 2-time coach of the year as a play caller. I think he'd be even better as a CEO, to be honest with you. I think that's what he is. I like that more with him. And so I found when he said they're interesting, though, he's installing and calling the plays. And I heard some people today in certain comments on certain videos saying, this is nothing, doesn't mean anything till training camp. But I think if people don't really understand how the offseason programs work, when you're in OTAs, you're installing your offense. But the guy who's installing the offense, the guy's probably calling the plays. That's you start the chemistry right off the bat. You don't wait till training camp; it's too late. So, and about it when they come back from mini camp in I think 2 weeks, then they'll be starting to do live reps in practice. Having Ken call it in. Deshaun, they already have they've installed. They had the install phase last week. Then they'll come back and start doing practice reps, and then they come back for training camp. Now it's like more live ball scrimmages, stuff like that. So, I'm not surprised though, and if Kevin Stefanski, and we'll get into Kevin's side of it here in the back end of this conversation, but I mean, I like Ken Dorsey so far. Jameis Winston said a lot of high praise about him. So is Deshaun, and with him as the play caller, I mean, I'm fine with it. So, I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of shared my thoughts on it before. If I don't think at the end of the day it really matters who's holding the play sheet, whether it be Kevin or Ken, just because the offense was going to change no matter what. I do see what people are saying in that this is voluntary OTAs period. We're not even in like training camp or like mandatory mini camp. This is voluntary OTAs at the moment. So I could see people's point of like, they're just letting him do it for voluntary OTAs, which could be the case. But while Kevin kind of ingratiates like the new coaches and whatnot, because he's got a lot of stuff going on besides like dealing directly with the players. He's getting Andy Dickerson, he's getting Tommy Rees, he's getting Ken Dorsey, he's getting all these new coaches. And I didn't even name, like, we have a new defensive line coach to Jacques. Oh man, I can never remember his last name. But anyway, he's installing all these new coaches into the system, getting them comfortable with the players that have showed up, which for voluntary OTAs, there's a surprisingly large amount of vets there. It was good to see Deshaun there. He looks like he's throwing back at full strength. Kevin actually said today that Deshaun looks like himself. And he said that today at the charity golf event that they do. They had a brief media meeting. So it's good to see that. It's good to see a lot of like defensive line like vets. Like Miles isn't there, but Miles doesn't need to be there. But Z's there. Shelby Harris showed up. Dalvin Tomlinson's there. I mean, Denzel Ward, who is another player. Like if he didn't show up, I wouldn't blame him. But he's there.
JOK was in the building.
Yeah, and JOK's got to be there. It's his contract year. But it's good to see that. As far as the play calling thing goes, like, again, at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters who's calling the plays. It more matters to me that they are installing a more pass heavy, shotgun focused choice route offense. And Jameis actually, I think in this interview, talked about that a little bit with choice routes, which Deshaun likes a little bit more because it's more comfortable with the like scrambles and all that good stuff, like off the cuff plays. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I wanted to be September yesterday.
I definitely think that I do think he is the play caller. I think it's done. I mean, and it's okay. It's not a knock on Kevin. It's actually when we're gonna get into this, what we think. There's different theories of what could be going on behind the scenes, what has happened since January. But if Kevin Stefanski made the change, like they said, that he fired Van Pelt and hired Ken Dorsey, that we need to make a change at offense, right? Offensive identity change to fit more around Deshaun. And then really he should get a lot of more praise because really, I mean, that's a hard decision to give up the play calling like that and to be selfless and say what's best for the team. I think it's a smart decision for him.
And fire your boy, And he did that with Joe Woods. Joe Woods and him were close. They worked at Minnesota together, and he fired. Yeah, he was like, "Hey, this ain't working."
There's a key part I'm going to get into on this, but I'm going to start the part one here. I'm going to finish my point, which is I think, Kevin's only called one system his whole career. It's the West Coast, Gary Kubiak, more play action kind of offense. Ken Dorsey's bringing a lot of new flavor. That's why you hear like Joel Batonia, Wyatt Teller say, I think it was like a month ago, or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, 3 weeks ago, maybe, I don't know, sometime.
No, I think it was a month ago now. Yeah,
a month ago. About Andy Dickerson. He's like, doing new techniques in the blocking. And I understand that as a former lineman. That means to me, it means they're doing a lot more, in the gun, pass pro, different types of blocking schemes in the run game. Polling, just a lot more lateral offense, more RPO action out of blocking the RPO action. Make sure you're not going over the line. I think they're going to do a lot more of the spread type of stuff for Deshaun. And so it makes sense for Ken Dorsey to be the play card, and he's installing because it's his offense now. And so yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I mean, I know it was news today around Cleveland that a lot of people are like, did he give it up? And so that means, because that really officially announced it yet, but does that mean that Ken is the guy that Jameis, kind of give it away? But I've said that all along. I think that, but I think it goes to the part 2 question though, which is, I think what's the wrinkle of all this is Kevin Stefanski and his contract. And which I understand why people question this, and it's it's understandable. You look from an outside because it's good to kind of observe everything. Is okay. So they said Kevin fired, like I just said, fired AVP, brought in Mike Vrabel, right, and did all this, hired Tommy Rees. But there's other people that say too, did ownership, because you never know, just did ownership maybe step in January and say, hey, we want to go a different direction offensively, because Jimmy Haslam did say last year, and you go back to reports, that he wanted more of an air raid offense, and that was reported. You remember that back in 2022, I believe it was. He said that, and a year later, after this past season, they make these changes offensively finally after that report. And so it's fair to question, why is the contract extension taking so long? Because we got to February was supposed to happen, March was supposed to happen, got the draft, pre-draft is supposed to happen, got the draft is supposed to happen, and nothing's happened yet. With the, we haven't really, it's been really quiet too, to be honest. I mean, you and we've looked constantly. The only thing I've seen was from Mary Kay recently, which she says that by minicamp it should be done. We keep hearing it's going to be done.
Yeah. And Mary Kay is pretty plugged in. If she's saying that, here, don't panic, it's going to be done.
We don't know. But it is fair. I agree with it. But it is fair to question, though, what is really going on? Because if I'm Kevin Stefanski, if ownership did that, and you never know. It's business. It's, at the end of the day, that's how this stuff works. Sometimes owners want it their way. And Jimmy has said it publicly in last year about what kind of offense he wants. So, if he did do that, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'd be kind of pissed too, not signing an extension. Because I'd be, if I'm him, from his perspective, I'm kind of like, I won Coach of the Year twice. We made the playoffs 2 times. Yes, we didn't, get over the hump, but we had Joe Flacco, who's older. Our quarterback got hurt. Blah blah blah. Nick Chubb got hurt this past year.
Both of our tackles, all 3 of our tackles
had all those injuries. If I'm Kevin, I might be, and just I could see it from his side, which is, you guys want to take the play call from me and bring in somebody else. And Alex Van Pelt was his guy. I mean, and Alex Van Pelt was like his best man. You know what I mean? It was like he was perfectly okay being in that role, not calling the plays, not, that's hard to find really. Because Alex Van Pelt could easily, he has it now in New England, but he got fired first to get to that job. But I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm curious your thoughts.
So I don't think there's like some backdoor conspiracy with ownership. For the most part, I don't think Jimmy, outside of a couple choice players that he wanted here, and like, because he signed the check for Deshaun, I think he has like a little bit of a say in that, as far as, or involvement. He has a say in everything technically, but like involvement is the better word. He trusts and loves Andrew Berry. It's no secret. He respects Andrew Berry. He thinks Andrew Berry is, one of the best GMs in football. He, at the end of the day, like, he trusts Andrew Berry with a lot. I'd say about 90%. There's a reason why he's GM and president of football operations. And, like, he has so many titles.
Well, I agree with the Andrew Berry part, but I'm
what I'm getting at is, I think I think if anything, like, Andrew Berry's a smart football mind as well. I think it was a collaborative effort between Kevin and Andrew, and I'm sure there was some conversation of like, maybe Kevin thought like, hey, we have to pivot, and maybe I think it's more more realistic that it was like a collaborative decision between Andrew and Kevin to get rid of AVP and bring in all these other people. Because even at the beginning of last season, if we remember, like, Kevin said, "Oh, I'm challenging AVP and I'm challenging, my offensive staff to come up with some new stuff that are suited for Deshaun." And it just, whatever AVP cooked up, it didn't work out. And him and AVP have such a similar mindset when it comes to offensive scheme that it makes sense for Kevin to be like, hey, like, it is what it is.
And it was pretty glaring with Deshaun out on the field too this year. I mean, they had success, but you could see, like, at times, especially that Pittsburgh game, you were kind of like, okay, we need to, and
that Pittsburgh game, I think, was thrown off his kilter. For other reasons,
but I'm saying they obviously saw it then. Then you saw in other games, you know what I mean? Like, they were kind of like, okay, we need to. You saw it more in the second half of the Ravens game. The first half was more of what they usually did, and the second half, I felt like Deshaun.
It was hurry up. It was all hurry up.
But I think Kev kind of let the wheels off a little bit with Deshaun. And said, you know what? Do you kind of 50-50 in a way? What do you like? All right, let's do this. And I think that's what they did in that second half of that game. That's why you saw a difference in the offense in that second half. There was just a complete different energy. David Njoku looked like an all-pro. I mean, had an unbelievable second half. Elijah Moore was getting a touchdown. Deshaun was being Deshaun with a broken shoulder. And still
all I know,
winning the game. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
All I know is if they don't incorporate tunnel screens with David Njoku, I will riot.
Well, they're keeping those. Yeah, they're definitely keeping those.
Well, no, they barely did it last year, and he was the best tight end in the league for Yak. He was one of the best Yak.
Oh, I know. I'm saying you're gonna see more of those, and you'll see more out of the RPO action too. Deshaun, you watched Deshaun in Houston when he had a good I can't remember who their tight end was, but they ran a lot of the RPO action. He would always dot the tight end, or he would take it and run. I mean, so I think David.
Oh, it was he was here for a minute.
Farrell Brown.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but he used to,
when Farrell was still young.
Him and Farrell Brown, I remember watching him, like, when he was in Houston. Man, they used to dot people all the time in that RPO, and but I think you'll see more of that. And I'm not surprised that. To me, I think it is Ken Dorsey, which I'm not surprised. And here, like I said, if Kevin Stefanski is the one that made these decisions, shout out to him. I could give him all the props in the world, because that's to me, that's a sign of a good leader, actually. That puts their ego and pride aside and says, well, we got to do what's best for team. There's a lot of guys, Mike, that will not give up that play sheet. I've seen there's been so many coaches throughout the years that careers have just faded away because they just will not give up they won't change. You know what I mean?
Right.
They stuck in the old and they don't go anywhere.
Right.
Our buddy Dan, where's the extensions at?
Mary Kay's article by training camp or July, more than likely.
So their tight end was Owen Daniels. They did have Farrell Brown. I remember you were right. They did have Farrell Brown.
They did have Farrell Brown. I don't know who was that. Their tight end one was Owen Daniels.
They had somebody else. I can't remember.
All I know is on that team, he made some dudes that didn't even make it in the CFL. A decent
QT.
Oh my God. The names.
He threw almost 5,000 yards to Kiki QT. That's how bad it was.
Some of the names on that roster read like a night out at like a Hooters menu. Like this, it's so funny.
It was bad, but yeah. So we'll see. It's like I said, according to Mary Kay Cabot, by minicamp, the extension should be done. So we'll see what happens. What do you think, Mike? You think they'll be done by minicamp?
More than likely. Yeah, more than likely. I mean, the fact that like Andrew hasn't gotten money either should be like they're just trying to get them both done at the same time, because we know how ownership, like, I'm sure that there's a bunch of theories out there about how ownership feels about Kevin, this, that, and the other, but we know for a fact how ownership feels about Andrew. So,
what do you honestly think the holdup's been? Because you and I both said back in March and April we thought it'd be done before the draft.
Yeah, it could have been. I thought they were going to do it after
came out in March, I believe, and said that, or February, maybe February,
late March
meetings. Yeah, it was right around the combine. So, what do you honestly think has been the holdup? Do you think it could be a money thing? Do you think maybe Jim Harbaugh just got 16, 17 million with the Chargers, and Kevin could be saying,
could be a money thing, could be working out guarantees. I don't think it's anything like malicious or crazy. I think it's just working out the kinks. Like, and again, it's not like, it's not like players. You know what I mean? Like with players, it's like, you got to get it done, or they'll hold out, they'll do this, they'll do that. Like coaches are much more like businessmen, right? Like if like you feel confident in your job and like they're like, oh yeah, we're just working out the extension, then I think it's there's not as much of a rush, I suppose. There's not as much of a drag to get it done. It's not like Justin Jefferson's contract.
Dan says the holdup is he has 0 playoff wins. I think the holdup to me is either money wise, like I said, or I think it could be that they took the play call. I think it's one or the other. I just think it should have been done by now. To me, I think it should have been done by now. But especially when Haslam said what he said all the way back then, usually it should have happened like within the next month after that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see by minicamp. Now, if it doesn't happen by minicamp, are you concerned?
Not really.
So you think it gets done regardless?
Yeah.
All right. Well, also, Mike, coming out of the camp, or what was that last week? OTAs? Yeah.
Yes.
Mike Vrabel, according to Pat McAfee was really talking about this too. Mike Vrabel's had much of a loud voice at camp. He's really been involved. He's the coaching consultant, I think player development consultant too, or whatever. But
executive consultant, I think it's his official title, whatever that means.
So basically, associate head coach.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, I like Mike Vrabel a lot. I'm glad he's out on the field. And I'll say if something ever happens, I think I'll be okay if he stepped in. But I do like though if Kevin they brought him in and have him out there. I think you can never have enough minds. I think what makes great coaches is with the staff they put around them, and so I like having Vrabel in the building right now. And they said his impact's already been very noticeable out on the field. He's been lighting into some dudes sometimes too. I've met Mike Vrabel before. Nice guy. And he is pretty big. He's as big in person as well. But what's your thoughts on Mike Vrabel being in the building?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great hire by the coaching staff. It's cool to see him out there. I don't really know what he's doing, but he's working with the players. That's a great thing to see. He's a really good defensive mind. Working closely with Jim Schwartz. So I think it's a great thing, especially with the D line and coaching up those young guys. I love it, and he's a great sounding board, another sounding board for that defense, because in year 2 of Jim Schwartz's scheme, they're going to want to do a little bit more unique things. Like last year was very much tic-tac-toe kind of defense. Like exactly what's happening, nothing unique. I mean, they had a few change ups where they move Miles around and the defensive line guys around. But really, if you watch the tape, it was super simple defensive schemes. So hopefully with Vrabel there, as well as year 2 and Schwartz's scheme, it helps kind of the communication issues in zone, because that was always bad with us for some reason. As good as our DBs are, they just struggle with zone, and there's always breakdowns of communication. And in Tennessee, that's Vrabel loved to run zone coverages, and he was good at it. So hopefully, I want to see him help Schwartz incorporate that a little bit more, just because
I think a lot of that too is having guys in that back end. They got to really step up in a leadership role and just communicate more.
And that's why I really like the signing of Jordan
more
Hicks.
players. I think Jordan Hicks will probably solve that. I think with having not having Anthony Walker in that playoff game really showed.
Yeah,
he's not in terms of impact of his production or anything, but just as he was the guy, the green dot. He was the guy out there,
green dot,
the command. I mean, that was a big deal, and you saw it in that game, the miscommunications and just giving up big bombs and stuff like that. So you take that away, it's tough for your defense. But Dan said Stefanski does not win a playoff game this year. Vrabel will remain in Cleveland while the Titans pay his salary to be our head coach. I mean, I'll say that's why I said if something does happen, I'm fine with Vrabel stepping right in. I think we'll be I mean, I like Mike Vrabel a lot. I think he should have a job right now as a head coach, but I don't know.
It would be great for a comp pick when he gets hired next year from someone.
If something did happen, though, would you be okay with Mike Vrabel as the head coach?
I mean, obviously the expectations are high. If expectations aren't met, yeah. I mean, that is what it is. But like, I just don't see that happening with the success we had last year and the injuries that we had, being the first team with 30% of our salary cap on injured reserve to win that many games and make the playoffs, or the first team ever to do that. So as long as we stay healthy, if there's not like catastrophic injuries again, yeah, we should go pretty far, and I expect us to go pretty far.
All right, well, we're going to find out how far, Mike. We're going to get into our schedule breakdown here.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's start with the preseason. Look at a little music going. We got some music going. We got that queued up. Here we go. All right. So schedule prediction time, Mike. We'll start. What do we do to the preseason? Well, preseason game. Let's see. They're versus Green Bay, versus Minnesota at home, and then at Seattle. So, anything you're looking forward to in the preseason? What, some Mike Hall action? And that's about it.
Excited to see Mike Hall. Excited to see, obviously, the rookies play Jamari Thrash. I want to see what Nathaniel Watson does. I'll be honest. As far as like, besides seeing what the rookies have, what I'm most excited to see in the preseason is the new kickoff rules and how that actually looks. I think that's what I'm most looking forward to actually watch the preseason, is see how the new kickoff rules look on the field. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like, that is super exciting. We're going to see a lot more kick returns. I mean, guys in camp are even talking about, like, coaches are like, oh, we have high profile guys wanting to return kicks because of the structure of it now. So I am curious to see how that plays out. More than anything, that's why I'm looking forward to the preseason, is just seeing how that's going to work.
I want to see some Jamari Thrash action. That's what I'm looking forward to, and I also want to see what DTR looks like coming in the year too, just to see what's there. But
yeah,
looking at this, we'll start with the first 4 games, Mike. We'll go one at a time. So week 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys. I almost said the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Cowboys. Who you got?
That's a win. At home. Dog pound, you know, like, I don't love this year's Dallas team. I mean, their offensive line is rebuilding. It's going to be a year 1 rookie on the left side against Myles Garrett. Best of luck. I have us winning. You know, like, anybody, week 1 is when you're still installing stuff and you never know, but like, yeah, I agree. Browns are beating the Cowboys in the opener.
Yeah, I agree.
Welcome to the NFL, Tyler Guyton.
Oh, I agree. I got the Browns. Brady be calling the game. That stadium's going to be too electric that day. I don't see how they lose. Moving on to week 2, though. Oh, go ahead.
Also a win.
So you say win. Our buddy Dan, he's got loss in Florida Heat.
Kevin Stefanski has never lost to the AFC South in the regular season. I have us beating the Jags in Florida, as we always do when we travel there.
I'm going to say they win in Jacksonville, just because we got a lot of Florida boys on our team. Maybe a little homecoming. Yeah. And Jacksonville, I think you want to talk about a team that has to really prove a lot this year. They got to prove a lot.
And they don't really have a lot. They've only lost.
Last year was not pretty. Then back at home, Mike, versus the New York Giants in Cleveland.
I have us winning again.
Yeah, I have us winning.
3-0.
Yeah, I got us. The Giants. I'm done. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky to me. I think this could be a trap game on the road at Vegas.
I still have us winning. I mean, as long as our defense shows up to play, I don't trust. I mean, it's Aiden O'Connell or Garner Minshew. I love their receivers. I love their running back. I love their tight ends. I don't love their offensive line or quarterback. And outside of Max Crosby, their defense is okay. I mean, I don't love their DBs. I got it beating Vegas.
Jets, win versus Raiders.
Oh, you're hoping to be there. You're hoping to travel to Vegas for that week 4 game. That would be fun. I've never been to that stadium. Take pictures.
What do you say? I bet you love their tight ends. Winsby, shout those.
Oh my God! I mean, Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer's a hell of a tight end duo, dude.
Well, here they got weapons offensively. Don't sleep. They got Jacoby.
I know they do. I'm just.
They got Devontae Adams, my boy Trey Tucker is going to be the starting slot this year. Don't sleep on
like
Trey.
their team.
He's got world class. He's got world class speed, and I saw it every day in practice. And then they got Jacoby Myers is solid as a third option. They got the two-headed monster, Brian, the bigger running back.
Yeah.
They're a tough team. I don't think they're going to be as easy as people think. I think I
like their weapons, but last year their offensive line couldn't stop a nosebleed, and it's a 4th round, second-year guy in Aiden O'Connell, or they switch to Gardner Minshew. I love their weapons. I think as soon as they get a quarterback and fix that O-line, the Raiders could really challenge Kansas City for that division. But until then, we'll see. But and they need a DB or two. But I still got us going. We're 4-0 at this point in my book. Actually, let's just call it 5-0 because Washington's going to be trashed. We're probably playing against Marcus Mariota and whoever the hell is still on that team.
I'm going to say...
No. Do you think Jaden Daniels is starting by week 5? Yeah, I'm going
to say... I think we lose at the Raiders, I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to say we win at Washington. So now to the Eagles.
This is the first loss I have. I have us losing to the Eagles, yeah. At Philly, yeah. I have this being our first loss. 5-1.
You really think we'll lose that game?
I mean, I don't I don't want to sit here and be like win. I gotta feel like I gotta be a little realistic. And if we're gonna drop a game,
I think the game we drop is at Vegas. I think Philly, we actually match up, I think, against Philly well.
We do. I just say we lose because it's away. It's the NFC.
Isn't that Nick Chubb's first game back too?
I think Nick Chubb has a chance to be back by week 2 or 3.
You know what? I was gonna say this was a loss earlier. So you're saying loss. So you got 5-1.
You're going to be at 5-1 and just different.
I think we win. I think we beat Philly. I really do. I'm not impressed with Philly. What I've seen, they got a lot to show. There's some dysfunction there at the end of the season.
Didn't they just hire a new? Isn't Vic Fangio there now?
Yeah, I think so. I think we beat Philly. I really do. I think we take away what they do well defensively. I think offensively with Chubb back, I don't think how I expect us to be offensively. I think we can give them problems. So I do. I think we beat Philly. So I think David Njoku might have a big game in that game too. When I think about their back end, but Cincinnati at home.
I have us winning. I mean, Cincinnati's never beaten us in our house, so
yeah, I think we win too. I'm not sold on them, but I mean, I think they'll be. You think they'll be? What do you see Cincinnati right now?
I think Cincinnati is near.
Are they the worst team in the division?
It's between them and Pittsburgh. I think
Pittsburgh's better. And
there's an argument to be
Joe
made
Burrow's back, and Joe Burrow's that dude, but.
I mean, I love Joe Burrow as a quarterback, but it sounds like T. Higgins is going to sit out. I mean, Trey Hendrickson might sit out. You lost your best run stopper in DJ Reader. I mean, their offensive line, let's see if they figure it out. I mean, they drafted a kid.
Gone.
Yeah, Mixon's gone, and they replaced him with Zach Moss, who had a decent season last year, but let's not kid ourselves. Joe Mixon is better.
And DJ Reader is gone, and you're in the AFC North.
Yeah, so I don't love their defense, which has, that really carried Cincy for a while.
It says 9-8 missed the playoffs. Stefanski fired.
But the hell?
He said, out of your mind that Cincinnati's the worst division. Okay, well, I mean, they've been built like a high school team the last 2 years. So.
I mean, I guess we'll see, but it really...
If you can't win in the trenches, you're not going to win. You can't win in this division. Their offensive line...
Let me ask you this, Owensby. What position group is better than the rest of the division that you guys have?
Receiver.
No. Is it receiver anymore? No T. Higgins, no Boyd, just Jamar Chase, Andre Yosivash, and
Jamar Chase is still light years ahead of everybody else, though.
Okay, but if we're just talking about overall rooms, I mean, I don't think
I would still say receiver. I mean, and
I don't. Higgins, I'm not going to say receiver anymore. You have no
Tyler Boyd's still a damn good player too. So.
Tyler Boyd's not on the Bengals.
Oh yeah, it's right. He left. Shit.
So you have no Tyler Boyd, no T. Higgins. It's just Jamar Chase. It's Andre Yosivash, and it's third-round rookie Jermaine Burton. You don't know who he's gonna be.
Well, they have the best quarterback in the division.
I would argue that's Lamar.
I take Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow. He's been in the Super Bowl. He's the best in the division. I like Lamar. I think Joe. They got the best quarterback, which is why people pick them to win the division. I understand that, and I respect Joe Burrow, and I think he's a great player. I just don't think the guy's had 2 season basically ending injuries because they can't protect him, and they still have not addressed that. And until I see otherwise, I'm not picking them. I think
they're the worst team in the division, and I think we're going to see a lot of chinks in their armor. With no, like if their defense, if Trey Hendrickson really sits out and they lost DJ Reader, their defense is Swiss cheese. And if
they're just bad in the trenches now,
overall.
Sam Hubbard's solid, but outside of that,
he's solid. He's good.
That's what I said. He's solid,
but that's it.
Hubbard, former Buckeye, but I don't know, dude. At home versus the Bengals.
We win. Long story short, we win.
Long story short, so we both got 6-1.
Yeah.
At home versus Baltimore.
For some reason, we always lose at home at Baltimore and then beat them in their house. So I'll say 6-2 at this point.
I agree with you. I think history repeats itself this year as well. And I'm gonna be honest, Mike. I think this is where the lull in the schedule happens. I think we lose versus the Chargers as well.
I think we beat the Chargers. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think the Chargers are gonna be very good.
I don't know. I don't like facing hardballs 2 weeks in a row, to be honest with you. So we come out of the bye week.
We don't know what. That's another fun conversation. We don't know if Harbaugh is going to be any good in the NFL. He hasn't coached in the NFL in a decade.
I think he'll be fine personally, but I get it. But then the bye week, and then we come out of the bye week. We go down to New Orleans.
I think New Orleans is going to be trash.
Yeah, I think we beat New Orleans too. Deshaun's not going to lose that game. There's something with him in New Orleans and some other guys on the team as well. I'm going to just leave it there. But we both got. Well, no, you got 8-2. I got 7-3.
Yeah, I got 8-2. I think
Thursday night at home versus Pittsburgh. We are not losing that game,
and not on Thursday night.
Yeah, we always win on Thursday night, and I like to be at that.
9-2.
Yeah. So you got 9-2. I got 8-3 at Denver. Oh boy, Monday Night Football.
I say we win. Bo Nix throwing to whoever the hell. Sean Payton's dumbass. Yeah, I got us.
I'd say, yeah, that's tough.
And we're going to be fresh because we play on Thursday, then on Monday. That's another mini bye after a bye.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that. Yeah, I'll say we win because I listen to Matt McChesney out of Denver. Knows that team well. They're expecting 2-3 win season possible.
Yeah,
yeah,
they got to build that team back up. They need a lot.
We lost that game last year, and we should have won it. We're better win it this year.
Yeah,
at Pittsburgh, week 14.
I
say we lose because we just never win for some reason. That game last year was bad. I'll say we lose this one.
Yeah, why not? I'll say a loss so I don't sound ridiculous.
So you got 10-3 versus Kansas City at home. Oh boy.
I say we beat them. 11-3. Let's go.
Well, you know what? You gotta just like they won that game in Baltimore last year.
It's at home.
Everybody counted them out in that game. Yeah, you're right. It's at home. The Chiefs have had a lot of drama this offseason too.
Oh my God, yeah. Did you see all those memes where it's like the new Kansas City uniforms and it's a jail suit?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. You know what? I'll say we beat the Chiefs. Why not? At home. They actually play a road game, so outside of the one last year in Baltimore. So you got 11-3. Damn, I got 10-4.
I actually had 13-4 as my prediction
at
in the
Cincinnati.
Schedule. Beat them.
I say we lose. I think we get off a high off Cincinnati, off of Kansas City, and we just lay an egg.
If Joe Burrow's playing, we win.
I think Joe Burrow.
If Joe Burrow's hurt, we might lose.
So you got 12.
Because if Joe Burrow's playing, he can't beat the Browns. So I'm going to pick us every time.
I got 10-5 right now. I think sometimes when you come off those wins like that on a high, and I think the Bengals will need that game more at the end of the season than we will by then. I think Joe Burrow will be playing at a high level as long as he's healthy. So
if Joe Burrow's playing, we beat him. I'm saying if it's like Jake Browning or something, we might lose that game.
Yeah. Miami's got to come up here to Cleveland in the cold. I'm taking the Browns. That's an easy one for me. Good luck to Miami.
Now I'm at 13-3 with
I'm at
that
11 and
Miami win.
5. Now, this is interesting. Does this game mean win the division at the end of the year at Baltimore?
See, I have us at 13-3 and already winning the division with a possibility at the 1 seed. And I'm going to say that we're resting everybody and we lose. So 13-4.
13-4. Wow.
That's what I said when the schedule initially came out. Even before we did the breakdown, I'm going to stick it to my guns.
You know, I don't know. This is tough because it really depends on. I have them at 11 and 5 right now. Baltimore has a tough schedule too. So does Pittsburgh. I don't know. Well, I did say earlier that I think we split again. We win in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would never sweep us. So you'd have to have us winning one of the game. We always split with them one way or the other.
Yeah, we won there last year too. And I think our if both teams are sitting guys out, I do like Jameis in that game. So if that's what it is,
who even is their backup?
I don't even know. And Eddie Huntley, is it? Is he still
No, Huntley's on our team.
Damn.
Huntley's a Brown
13 and 4.
Got 13-4, and I got
12 and 5. But I think you can make an argument for 10. I mean, there's a couple of games in there they could lose, but I just took them because they should win. So I got us beating Philly and Kansas City. But that gets you losing Kansas City. I got 12 and 5. You got 13 and 4. All right. Hopefully, when I look back, I don't know. 11 and 6 isn't. I could see why people may say 11 and 6 or maybe 10 wins, but tough schedule though, Mike.
It's the NFL. It's always a tough schedule. I don't believe in that shit.
Well, I agree with you. I agree. I mean, it's the NFL. You got to show up and play. But
people thought
what makes this schedule tough is the back-to-back games.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
Cincinnati,
Pittsburgh, or you got Philly,
right,
and Cincinnati, then you got Baltimore, then you got the next Harbaugh coming to Cleveland, and
but it's the NFL. You never know. I mean, look at the Texans. People thought they were going to be dog water last year, and they were
on the road at Pittsburgh. You got to come home and play Kansas City the next week. So it's tough, man. It's tough.
Always tough in the NFL.
Well, that's our schedule predictions. When we come back, we're going to do a little quick rapid fire. We haven't heard Mike's take on the NBA yet and what's going on with LeBron and all that jazz. So let me turn this music off. Okay, there we go. All right. And we'll be back in 3 minutes. We'll see you guys in the next segment. Yeah.
Because people put labels on you, sometimes people believe them. After a lot of, constantly people saying, "Oh, you're this, you're that," you'll never do this, you'll never be like that, whatever. Sometimes
I think this is important. I wrote this down right here because this is key for people our age, especially somebody like me who's 23, single. Is don't wear the labels the world might say you are. And so people could tell me in my life, some of the things in my personal life, obviously because we're good friends, but certain things maybe I haven't achieved yet because of what happened to me, just because of circumstances. But if I were to keep wearing that label of I don't have X, Y, and Z yet, or if I would go by the world standards and the pressure, and sometimes even your own family, and he even said in the sermon earlier, he said sometimes the wisest thing for you to do, nobody will agree with you. Literally nobody. And that could be your own, it could be everybody around you. But as long as you listen to the voice, you can feel that conviction. Why should you be afraid? Why not? What's there to be? That should give you somewhat of a confidence, and that's hard to do because when everybody around you is telling you what to do, you can start to wear I could have started to wear those labels and started to, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today though. I can tell you that I'd be in a deep hole. So I guess kind of what we talked about this in our last episode we did too, back I think it was like in October.
Yeah.
About being bold and courageous, and because that's really what it is. I think surrendering, it takes a leap of courage, of faith. And so I guess kind of what are the things that have helped you in your past, or what some words of encouragement people out there, especially our age, watching about, being bold and courageous and not wearing your past, not wearing the labels and all that.
It's something that's, it's easier said than done, but you definitely have to try to surrender it all to God. Just giving it to Him, laying at the foot of the cross, and just trusting Him through it all. Because when people put labels on you, sometimes people believe them. After a lot of, constantly people saying, "Oh, you're this, you're that," you'll never do this, you'll never be like that, whatever. Sometimes you believe them, after hearing it enough, and then at the end of the day, it's just lies. But you have to trust that, Christ is going to set you free, as He said He will. You just got to take the first step and surrender it to Him first before He takes it. Because He's not going to do it forcefully. He's going to do it. He wants you to take the first leap of faith.
All right, welcome back, Mike.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Trying to get okay. Time to get in some NBA action, Mike. Let's get it popping. So, let me start. I'm gonna break down my theory here, Mike, and then
break that shit down.
Break that shit down. So, let's start with the Cavs front of it, right? I know you see this on the screen. Don't pay attention to this yet.
Okay.
Let me. So, there was a report though today that the Cavs, from Sam Amico, that the Cavs are looking to not trade Isaac Okoro, right? And they said they weren't going to trade the core four, right? No, I do believe Donovan Mitchell is back. I do believe Evan Mobley's going to get signed pretty soon. I think that's done. That Donovan really is all in on the Cavs, and I think him and Dan Gilbert seem to have a great relationship. It's look from my observation.
Dan Gilbert's just a bro. Real quick, not to interrupt.
Yeah,
Dan Gilbert gets along
done
with
a nice
everybody.
job. I mean, the dude's paid the money we needed to. People always give Dan Gilbert shit. I think Dan Gilbert's done a hell of a job personally. I know some people. I don't. Why do people always give him shit, Mike? I don't understand it. Like, the dude's actually spent money in Cleveland, and he's invested in the city. And he's competitive. I like an owner that wants to win too. Yeah, he's made mistakes as an owner at times, but he's admitted it and corrected them.
Yeah,
I think Dan Gilbert's done a phenomenal job.
I agree.
I think some people just, for obvious reasons, we're not gonna get into that. But anywho, but anyways, I think so. The Cavs. I think what Kobe Altman said, they're not looking to maybe sweeping changes. I think he's protecting the leverage, trade leverage for Garland.
Yeah, that's smoke. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's smoke. He's protecting it for Jared Allen and Darius Garland. I think those are the two that are probably on the block. Isaac Okoro, I think the same thing. As you can see here, why do I bring up the Lakers in this report? This is in the LA Times from Dan Wojcicki. He's pretty plugged in out there. Talk about the potential of Okoro being involved in a Cavs-Lakers deal where the Lakers acquire Okoro. Well, the only way that happens, though, is if LeBron James, in my opinion, who's probably going to be a free agent, according to Rich Paul. He blurted it out last week, which isn't shocking. I mean, I said it 3 weeks ago. It's probably expected. Everybody knew he's going to be a free agent. He's going to opt out of that $51 million. So if that happens, if LeBron were to do a sign and trade with the Lakers and the Cavs, Okoro will probably be involved. I think Karis LeVert might be in the deal. Maybe Darius Garland. It depends what the money is with LeBron, what the contract looks like. But I do think Okoro could be on his way out of here this offseason.
Which is a shame. I love Isaac. I
like Ice. I like Okoro. I think he's developed into a nice player. I think he's always been great defensively, even back in college. I think he could be on his way out. Now the Cavs also this week, Mike, interviewed Chris Quinn and Johnny Bryant. Now, why are those two names interesting? Now, everyone keeps saying Kenny Atkinson's the leading candidate. I think Kenny Atkinson's a good coach, Mike. I like Kenny. He's been around a while, but I just don't think he fits this team. I know he's been in Golden State, and everybody always thinks, well, we've hired the guy off the bench, but I'm not sold on the Kenny Atkinson. I don't really like that. James Borrego is a name that I like, but I don't think he's coming to Cleveland. I'm going to tell you where I think he's going in a minute. But I out of Chris Quinn and Johnny Bryant. Now, Johnny Bryant has been the associate head coach for the New York Knicks for a long time. He's got a player development guy as well. Really close relationship with Donovan Mitchell. Was with Donovan Mitchell in Utah. I think Donovan's probably brought his name up. And according to Brian Windhorst, who's pretty plugged in with both the Cavs and the Lakers,
He's plugged in, period. Brian Mortenhorst is just that guy.
He's from Akron, from the 330. Shout out to Wendy.
Big Wendy.
Big. Okay. Anyway.
That's a big dude right there. A big man.
Oh, shit.
That's a big man.
Oh man, I'm just gonna let you have that one. But anyway, I forgot my point. Let me look at my notes. Okay, here we go. Oh shit. But I think Johnny Bryant. Well, no. So you got me off focused. Oh, Brian Windhorst said this week that Donovan Mitchell probably has more power with the Cavs than LeBron does with the Lakers. And I said, right? So stay with me here, Mike.
Staying.
Go back.
I'm right
here. See this report. This is from I can't remember the Jahan Buva, whatever his name is. He's very plugged in.
Good old Jahan.
I don't mean to botch his name. He's very plugged into the Lakers. Does a nice job. I think his last name's Buva, I believe. He's saying now the Lakers may not go all in with LeBron this summer.
Ooh.
Go back to what Dave McMenamin said way back when. Let me find that. I have it in the slide queue here when I did my earlier episodes. That was LeBron. The first one. This was back when David McMenamin said that, the Lakers want LeBron back on any term he wants, Mike, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Trae Young, who's mentioned down there, Trae Young is no longer with Clutch Sports. He left Clutch Sports last week. So he's out of the picture now. And I highly doubt Klay Thompson's going to the Lakers. I think he'll be back in Golden State. They're not going to let him walk.
Yeah. And with Klay, Klay's not. He doesn't have a lot left.
No, they're not going to let him walk anyways. They shouldn't either. But
he's so important.
He'll be back in Golden State. He ain't going nowhere. But Trae Young's off the table now. So now you're seeing some of the reports, Mike, out of LA, which is they're not going to go. And this report mentions it as well. And Buva mentions it, or Boha, or Boo. I don't want to botch his name, but the reporter mentioned that he doesn't see them trying to acquire a third star now. He sees them trying to find more depth around him and AD because Trae Young's out of the picture now. But they've done that before, and that's been the same old Lakers the last 2 years who've gotten bounced by
everybody
Denver and gentleman's sweep this year, and they got swept out of the conference finals last year. So even if they made some more rotational trades, I don't see how that elevates them in that Western Conference. So if I'm LeBron James, obviously Bronny's the factor in this. Rich Paul has also said, Mike, that they don't want Bronny to get no more than a guaranteed contract. Well, he's probably going to get drafted in the first round in that case. The Lakers have the 17th pick. The Phoenix Suns have been rumored for Bronny, and maybe in LeBron possibly as well. James Jones is over there, LeBron's boy. They have, I believe, the 20th pick, and the Cavs are right there around like 23. So I don't think Phoenix takes them. Unless there's something that's been the plan, and maybe they trade Beal for LeBron straight up. But I don't know about that. That wouldn't surprise me, but I just don't see that yet. I'm more sold on the Cavs. The Cavs, you can't justify the Lakers taking Bronny at 17, I don't think, Mike.
I agree with that. I think Bronny is going to be okay. I think he's going to be an okay player. But he's definitely not worth the 17th overall pick.
No, but I think if you're the Cavs, you can justify taking him a little earlier than people think. Because
the 20s in the NBA draft. That might as well be a second pick.
And you got to remember, the Lakers are a different brand, and that's one of the biggest brands in all sports. They're expected to win championships, and a lot of people are pissed out.
Even though they haven't in a long time,
right? But a lot of people in LA are pissed about all this, and they're kind of tired of this whole thing. And I understand why, but and plus, I've mentioned many times LeBron's, assistant GM of the Cavs is one of his childhood friends, Brandon Weems, who was sitting next to LeBron at Bronny's pro day. I found that interesting. Maybe not. Usually don't see executives of teams sitting with the parents, athletes' parents. But anyways, and I get they're friends, but still, it's,
it's the way it looks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the way it looks. But not many people have mentioned his name publicly. So if some of the local guys are out here watching this, Mike, you guys may need to look into that more or bring it up more in your shows. But just saying. But I think that's a big factor in all this. But
I agree.
let me see what else I got. So then going back to where I think the Lakers are going to go, Mike, if you go back to this report right here, Rich Paul says the Lakers
Lakers' focus should probably be on more so on Anthony Davis than LeBron at this point. Why is that important? Well, James Borrego, who is a candidate for the Lakers, this was today from Shams Charania and Pat McAfee. The Lakers coaching search has been going on for almost a month now. They have had multiple interviews with candidates. At the end of the day, the finalists are likely going to be J.J. Redick and James Borrego. We all know why J.J. Redick's name's been brought up in this because of his connection with LeBron. That seems to be who LeBron likes with the podcast, Draft Bronny, right? And then this is from Brian Windhorst recently, the last couple of days. My information on the Lakers head coaching search is scattered. I have some people saying this is J.J. Redick's job that I trust. I have some others saying that this is a process that is not complete. James Borrego has had multiple meetings with the Lakers, and one of them recently was with ownership, Mike. And James Borrego has a relationship with guess who, Mike? And guess who Anthony Davis also has been reported of wanting? James Borrego. James Borrego and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has co-signed to James Borrego being the head coach. And they also have a relationship as well for per Brian Windhorst. So I think where this is all heading, Mike, I think the Lakers are probably going to have to pivot. I think that's why you're seeing now them starting to backtrack a little bit, like with this report here. I think they're going to pivot more towards the Anthony Davis era post LeBron, and I think they hire James Borrego. And I think we're looking at LeBron. I don't want to say for sure, and we've talked about this. I don't want to say for sure because you never know. I do think LeBron has been trying to leverage the Lakers to take his son at 17 and see if he can get Redick. But at the end, my gosh, this guy showed up to the game at the Cavs game, and ever since he did that, I just, to me, that was very calculated, and he was getting over guest seats that night as well. I'm gonna say,
how many current
51-49, he's coming to the Cavs. I'm gonna say 51-49 is coming to the Cavs, Mike. That's right, man. I'm sorry for the mouthful rip, but I wanted to lay all this out.
Oh no, that's all good information, dude.
I'm trying to connect the dots. I've been on this for the last 3 weeks. I've got a shitload of information I'd put on all this, and LeBron going back in since he left for LA. The day he left for LA, when he opened the school, he said in a local interview, I consider coming back one day. I wouldn't shut that door. Right after he just signed with the Lakers. But then 2 years ago, he mentioned as well. And 2 years ago, he also mentioned to Jason Lloyd that if it meant playing with his son, it wouldn't be about money at that point. So, I've thrown out a couple of trade scenarios. Maybe target DeJounte Murray, who's a clutch client. Atlanta needs a center. Maybe Jared Allen some pieces. Maybe trade Garland to New Orleans for Brandon Ingram. Maybe LeBron signs for less. Now you got to line up with Murray, Mitchell, LeBron, Ingram, and Mobley. I like that a lot. That's a great lineup in the modern day NBA. You got everything you need in there. But I've ran it a lot, Mike. I've been talking about this for a while. I'm curious your thoughts and some of the other people's thoughts about all this.
I mean, you got the breadcrumbs, brother. I'm gonna just nod my head and agree because, yeah. I mean, with LeBron, obviously he's LeBron James. He's one of the greatest basketball players ever. He's so important to the city of Cleveland, to the city of Akron, where we live. So, absolutely, if he comes back, open arms, dude. And I think it would be a poetic ending to his career if his son is drafted here and he plays his very last season in the town he was drafted at, who he helped win their one and only NBA championship with. So I think it would be a poetic ending to the LeBron James story. I think it would be really cool. And I think also that the Cavs are probably objectively the best team that he could join. Because kind of like what you and I were talking about, outside of super teams, who's going to sign Donovan Mitchell? Because what other better scenarios are there than the Cavs?
Yeah, and Donovan's looking at probably, I think I heard it's a 4-year, probably $205 million. So,
here comes money.
He could have signed for more. He could have got the Supermax, but because he didn't play more than 65 games and he didn't make an All-NBA team, we got kind of a discount. So,
I'll take a discount. I'll take a discount on Sir Donovan Mitchell.
But so, what do you think? I'm gonna say 51-49. He's coming back, but I'm very day by day with it.
I'm gonna say he's coming back for sure. How about that? I'll be a devil's advocate. LeBron's coming back. he's going to open up a Chili's for us right in downtown Akron. He's going to bring back Chili's. No, in all seriousness, I do think like it's probably more likely he comes back because like the Lakers are obviously
It's worn itself out.
Yeah, it's just like
it's just, I mean, it's like, when is enough? Like, you're not going anywhere. How many times are you going to retread this roster, hire another coach? You know what I mean? And they didn't hire they didn't not to cut you, I'll let you go in a second, but they didn't.
No.
I think a key thing to me too that people want to sweep under the rug or swept under the rug is when they fired Luke Walton his first year out there, they brought in Phil Handy. That's LeBron's boy. He was with him here in Cleveland. He's also Kyrie's guy too. LeBron loves Phil Handy. Well, Phil Handy did a seminar at that place by our house, Mike, at the Island a year ago over there. Shout out to David Lane. But so they, you know what I mean? So him and Phil are very close. And so they didn't and then when they fired what's his name, Frank Vogel, they retained Phil Handy. And I'm sure LeBron made sure they retained him. If they were all about making LeBron happy, you can't tell me LeBron signed off of them firing. Usually when you fire a head coach, you allow the next guy that comes in, he makes the decision who he wants to retain or not.
Yeah.
Right? You don't fire the whole staff. They said, the hell with it, we're firing the whole staff. And so they fired Phil Handy with a year left on his contract too, which guess who else had a year left on his contract? LeBron. So they kind of lined up. And so I that to me was a big domino as well.
The tea leaves. Reading them leaves, dude.
So
yeah.
And I just think, what's the safest place for Bronny to go and develop as a player where he'll be accepted? People won't put much pressure on him. It's Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. And like,
you put that kid in LA, that's a lot of pressure. I feel bad for him. I mean,
and you know me, you know how I hate the like small market, big market like conversations. I absolutely despise them. I don't think there's any
a medium-sized market now, actually, to be honest with you, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, our media market's like mediums. It's grown a lot in the last 10 years. But anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, no, kind of what I was getting at was just like, you know, if it's better than going to, like you said, like in LA or New York or, you know, because, you know, those cities.
Even in Dallas at this point. I mean, Dallas in the finals. I mean, they got I mean, I think that would even be too much.
Oh, I agree.
And you look at the Cavs too. I like what Bronny said in his interview at the Combine. I think he understands who he is, his value, and what he can be. He's modeling more of the Davion Mitchell kind of players, the Derek Whites, the Drew Holidays. I think that's smart by him, knowing who he is. And here, if he develops into a player, the Cavs can use a backup guard like that down the road. The dude's he had the second highest vertical. He's only 6'1". That was impressive. He could really shoot the shit out of the ball. He showed that. I thought he made some nice plays. I think he's got some game. I think he's just coming off of what happened to him last summer. I think was a lot mentally. Which he even said too. It's been he even said that's been a lot, and just also who he is. I mean, this kid, he's got a lot of pressure on him, and a microscope on him, and that's unlike any other prospect you'll ever see.
Right.
But I think the safest place for him to go is here. And I think the Cavs also can make sure he gets that guaranteed money as well. So,
yeah, no, I agree 157%.
Now, going to the coaching side of it, I don't think there was a report that came out today that they're going to hire a coach before they present their offer to Donovan Mitchell. I think they're going to wait till after the draft to hire a coach. And I think that's why I call this the LeBron Cold War. Because like my buddy Jared said, I think there's just like these teams know what's coming. It's the Lakers, it's the Cavs, and I think probably the Suns. They know and I think the Philly's going to try to make an attempt at him, but he ain't going to consider Philly because he ain't going to Philly. I'll just leave it at that. But him and Daryl Morey are not going to work together. But anyways, I think these teams are positioning themselves to make a run. I think that's why the Cavs are playing this more strategically. Because you go back to 2014 when they hired David Blatt. They hired David Blatt 2 weeks before, I think 2 or 3 weeks before LeBron came back. And they kind of effed it up because David Blatt was not the coach you'd hire if you signed LeBron back. And you saw the result of that after a year and a half. They had to eventually move on. So it blew up. And Ty Lue was the guy. That's probably should have been the guy to begin with. But anyways, so I think they know they learned from that to be more strategic this time. I think Jason Lloyd or somebody mentioned that recently too. And so I think that's where they're going with it. And I think if I had to pick a coach right now, I think based on what Udonis Haslam said recently about LeBron's connection with Chris Quinn, and I think Chris Quinn just checks all the boxes. He's in Miami, knows that culture. LeBron has even recently on the podcast has spoken really highly of just that Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley coaching, how much he liked it, loved it, and how much a hell of a job Spoelstra did at the time he was there unlocking LeBron and that team. I think when you look at I compared Evan Mobley's potential to a Chris Bosh kind of guy. I think he has that skill set. Especially now he's hit more of the three. You go more of that stretch five athletic big, and then I think Donovan Mitchell's always been kind of like a mini D Wade, a better shooter though. Maybe not as good defensively, but a better shooter. He's smaller, but you know what I mean. He has similarities to Dwayne Wade in his game. That's why. And so, where did those two guys play, Mike? They played in Miami. Chris Quinn was there as an assistant coach. He was there LeBron's last year. So I think he was hired in 2014. I don't know if he was, but he was hired around then. He was there. So I think Chris Quinn, to me, he's younger as well. I think he'll be innovative. I think he'll bring more of that Miami Heat culture stuff over. I think he'll be able to like Udonis Haslam said. Udonis knows LeBron very well. That LeBron will have a healthy relationship with Chris Quinn, but he'll also respect Chris Quinn. So he won't be stepping over. Chris Quinn's a former player as well, and so I like that. I don't like the JJ Redick thing. I think JJ Redick maybe could be a good coach one day, Mike. But like Udonis said in that same clip on ESPN a month ago, there'd be a lot of cynicism in that locker room if you hired JJ as your head coach with LeBron.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think I think JJ's still too fresh out of the NBA as well.
He hasn't coached any. He's not been an assistant. You can't just walk in and just be like, I'm a head coach of the Lakers.
That'd be wild.
And I think too, I've heard people say something too. You could tell JJ Redick has kind of a temper. I think if they hired JJ Redick and they did all that in LA, this whole Hollywood story again, I think it all blows up by the deadline. I do. I think it'd be an absolute shit show.
I agree 120%, dude. I think
go ahead.
It's already a shit show in my opinion.
Yeah, it already is. So it'd be even more shitty. They just smear it in. But they just smear it in. But I'm going to say Chris Quinn is the head coach. Johnny Bryant's interesting. Now, Johnny Bryant was pictured with Kobe Altman last summer overseas. So that's interesting. They were just in a picture. I don't know. Maybe Johnny Bryant gets hired as maybe an assistant with Chris Quinn. But I'm going to say Chris Quinn is going to be the guy because I think that's who LeBron will go with. I think Phil Haney will be back in Cleveland too if that happens, which I love. So that's my prediction, Mike. I'm going to say James Borrego will be the Lakers head coach as well.
Yeah, I want the dude from Minnesota that makes all those funny analogies.
Who's that guy?
I don't know. We interviewed him today. The Minnesota assistant.
Oh, I know who you're talking. Yeah, I've seen.
He's hilarious.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna go Chris Quinn from Ohio too, former Buckeye. And he's got a good track record. He developed Bam Adebayo's offensive game. That's been on record. He helped Gabe Vincent get a contract. I mean,
Bam Adebayo was. People forget how bad he was when he was a rookie.
Chris Quinn really kind of similar. I mean, it's not surprising. Miami's good at finding those fives. Like they did with Bosh and expanding that. More of that spread offense. I mean, so he's had success with Bam developing players. He also developed Gabe Vincent as well. Gabe Vincent got a contract with the Lakers. So I think Chris Quinn, to me, checks all the boxes.
I have to agree.
So, see, we both say he's coming. I'm saying 51-49. You're saying 100%.
I'll say 69%.
Of course you would. All right. Mike, you want to tell them I need to like, subscribe, and share?
You need to like, subscribe, and share, or I'll find you. I'll find you where in your house where you live.
Gosh.
I'll find you, and then I'll be like, "Hey, man, come on, just subscribe, you silly goose." And that's all I'll do.
Show up and be like, "Hey, you need to subscribe."
Yeah, you silly goose. I'll look at them and I'll boop them right on their nose. Come on, just subscribe. It's good for you. It's good for your health. It's high in vitamin D. And it helps us out. Let us know what you think. I know that there's a Lakers fan that will be watching this and like telling us why we're all dumb and why you're going to get Darius Garland for a pack of smokes.
Oh no,
and
they're
half a
going to
bag
tell
of
us.
Lay's
They're
chips.
going to.
I see, if you're a Lakers fan and I see you on that stupid ass NBA trade machine doing like Darius Garland for like a fucking Rui Hachimura and 2 second-round picks that you don't have till like 2037 or some shit, I'm going to lose it. You're not getting players unless the Cavs like the deal. I don't care what your little NBA forcing a trade AI machine has to say. You Lakers fans are worse than Alabama fans and Dallas fans that were related and had a kid. I'm so sick of it. So do not go on those dumbass trade machines. But if you are watching this, please like and subscribe. We thank you so much for watching. Yeah.
You are right though. They're going to tell you why they're getting Garland, they're getting Donovan, they're getting Paul George, they're getting all these guys on one team. They always say that.
For like a 2039 first round pick. Like, get the fuck out of here. Go back to Crypto Stadium or whatever the hell it's called now.
Yeah, we want their scrap pieces. Yeah, no thanks. You're not
I got some teriyaki gas station beef jerky and half a pack of Newports for Darius Garland.
Yeah, it's like Pat Riley said that time about the referees. You try to talk to them, and they just say, you know what, F it. You ain't getting nothing. They ain't getting nothing.
Right.
Pat Riley. So, all right. Well, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. We'll see you guys in the next one. We're out of here. I'm saluting, Mike.
I'm saluting as well.
Go.
Later.